Today we'll be continue working on the chapter 4, which is called network. So what is network? Network is the connection to the internet access. So let's just talk about some of the keywords here. The first one in this unit is called authorized access. Basically, when you access to a web portal, it will require you for some authorization. This will include password or username. Basically, the authorization is just to prove that you are the person that is logged in and prove that you are the person that is the safe one. Yes. How about unauthorized? It's just the opposite of authorized, which means that your activity is not proved to be safe by the system, which is that the data is leaked to users that can compromise and do illegal activity with that data. For example, logging to the bank account. The same would apply to all below authorized access example. Let's talk about the first one, intrusive software, viruses, worms, and Trojan horses. Basically, there's some difference between them. Viruses is the one that is just like a real virus where they attach to the software and inject the a virus inside, and in the end, your computer will be contaminated. Trojan horses. Trojan horses, that on the other hand, is the malware that like misleads the users with its true intent. So basically, it appears to be harmless, but in fact malicious. It comes from ancient Greek methodology where, like, I remember, let me think. It's just a person who puts the Greek soldiers, they attack a city for 10 years, but they could not success. So in the end, they give the city a present, so called, which looks like a Trojan horses. And in the end, after the Trojan horses put inside the city, like the soldiers just all pop out, and then they occupy the city. Mm, Antivirus software is the software that is combating the intrusive software. So basically, they uses antivirus mechanism to kill it. Spam. Spam is just filtering through. Spam is just the information, useless information that is sent to you. Uh, Spamming can include like where you just send a lot of information at once, or you send irrelevant information, such as like when I make YouTube, there's always random YouTube comments that make what's that called? There are always random YouTube comments that has a link that direct me to I don't know. Maybe here is called a firewall. Firewall is just a system that controls the inflow and outflow of and detect whether they are good or bad. That's fine. Two things, process. Two things. The way to solve is process. What is identity theft? Basically, what is identity theft? Identity theft is that someone uses your identity unauthorized. For example, one example of this is that I will from app or will from but that's not it. I mean, even though it seems like it's Trump doing that, the actual people that is doing that is me, not Trump. So that is an example of identity theft. People uses your identity to do unauthorized things that will harm your reputation. Understand? So the way is that the way to solve it, protect your personal details and make more complex password. You know that there are just sometimes there will be commonly used password. For example, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? Like that will have no security because the people who want to hack you can just guess, and they guess it and they find it right. Um, yeah. So now let's talk about mainframe and supercomputer. The mainframe is a bit similar to supercomputer, except they are not optimized for speed, but for data throughput. They used to calculate a large number of simple calculations. For example, calculating 1 plus 1 for 2 trillion times. Okay? And then it's supercomputer. Supercomputer, on the other hand, is uh, supercomputer. Supercomputer. Supercomputer, on the other hand, is optimized for speed and is used for scientific and engineering computation, which is more complex. Now let's talk about the difference between client, server, and host. So, in one sentence, client is the one that receives the what's that called the services from the host. Server is the one that provides services. Host is the one that gives services. Okay, so which is this is a key difference, but you can have 30 seconds to read this. Okay, so let's go back to the next part. So now let's talk about this. False positive, false negative. False positive is just basically providing access to our unauthorized user. So the system considers dangerous people are safe, while false negative, that system considers safe people as dangerous or is restricting access to authorized user. Now let's talk about some important terminology. The first important terminology that we are going to talk about is grid computing or distributed processing. The definition of it is multiple computers work together for the same task. Another thing is called Ethernet. Remember, in Ethernet is one network that is commonly used on LANs. And then another key thing that I'm going to tell you is the difference between internet, intranet, and extranet. Internets are networks that is accessible by everyone. Intranets are network that is only accessible by trusted by the organization that owns the by the members in the organization that owns the network. That's intranet. Intranet is only for the members of the organization that creates the network. Ethernet is the network used for trusted third-party organizations. Okay. What's next? Okay. The next thing that we are going to talk about is Ethernet, which is Ethernet is a wire network that is commonly used on LANs. And you may be curious about what is LANs. LAN is just a local network in a small area, such as a school. Peer-to-peer, on the other hand, is network where all computers have the equal status. What is WAN? WAN is just network in a larger area, such as across multiple cities. It is implemented by connecting multiple LANs and computers together. And then there's thing, VLAN. VLAN just connects LANs that are geographically separated into a virtual network. And WLAN. WLAN is just the thing that we use like all the time. Like we use Wi-Fi to access the internet to play games. What's WLAN then? WLAN is uh, WLAN. WLAN is the local network where some or all computers connect wirelessly. Now let's talk about the next thing, SAN, right? SAN is specialized network optimized for storage. Okay, it's just a specialized network optimized for storage. Uh, the next thing is the next thing that we will be talking about is RAID. RAID is a way of storing the same data in different places on multiple hard disks or solid state drives, so-called SSD, that protect data in case of the drive failure. Now let's talk about another thing. Uh, Routers. Routers is the thing that connect two or more networks together. Switches are smarter hubs. They send the data to the intended user. Hub is the most stupidest thing. It receives data and broadcasts it to every single computer connected, even if the one that sends the information. Think about in this case, if you feel confused, Hub is just like the public announcements in the school, what's it called, the school channel, while switches are the private message in the school channel. You get what I mean? Okay, internet, intranet, extranet. So here's the definition. Internet. Those three are like usually requires you like to distinguish it. So you need to distinguish those three things as best as possible, or else there will be problem. Internet connect our LANs received by everyone. Intranet connect our LANs by members of an organization. Extranet connect our LANs were received by an authorized third party. So then let's talk about the following thing. Virtual private network, optical market connection, cable, wireless. Synchronous is at the same time. Okay, synchronous is IT system that connect at the same time. IT at the same time. A home page. Okay, so that's what's the difference. That's run at the same time. That's the difference of synchronous or asynchronous. Synchronous is in real lifetime, right? Synchronous is in real lifetime. Asynchronous is self-paced. Okay. Now let's talk about another part. Okay, another part. So basically, it's here. It's here. Okay, it's here. Archiving disaster data redundancy, failover, electronic security, authorized access, level of access, biometric login, password, firewall, proxy server, and then this. So here we come to the end of our lesson and I hope you have learned a lot. See you next week. Bye bye.